As it turns out, I'm rather glad you tore down Asylum. I was not, at the time, but Arakim's come a long way since he started working with your band.
Arak feels you appointed him as a political move.
Oh, I absolutely did. And I'm pleased he recognizes it. A bright future awaits him. I need someone who will push, and he will most certainly do that.
Oh, Brynn! How did it go?
It worked amazingly. In fact, I was almost too cold.
Oh, I must have prepared it incorrectly. Perhaps too much stirring.
I'm kidding, Lane. It was perfect.
Your elevated wit eludes me once again.
If you two are done messing around, it's excellent to hear that the potions worked. Lane, what sort of quantities can we produce for the scouts?
As much as you need. It's not hard to make.
That's very good news. I wonder why the Eye never explored this as an option.
I would assume the reason sits somewhere between lack of care and gross negligence. Speaking of the Eye, Brynn, the Axel and I had a chance to sit and talk for a while. Would you believe that she isn't his biggest fan either?
There were some subtle context clues that tipped me off.
We were indeed not very cordial with each other at the best of times.
In particular, the way he kept secrets rubbed us both the wrong way. We found ourselves in agreement that any new government here should be built on a foundation of trust and respect.
A foundation that will only be built if we secure our survival. Lane and I don't agree on everything, but it was good to sit and speak with someone who understands the nature of the work I'm doing.
It's not every day that one has the privilege of watching a new order emerge.
Perhaps you will be here to document it.
I should like that very much. The story of a new Enclave should be made available to all. Every detail, out in the light. I'm struck with inspiration. I need to return to base camp and get started on my history. To be here as it's being written. To be the one writing it. Oh, what a privilege.
Oh, they're gone. Do they always do that?
Yes, that's a fairly frequent occurrence.
Well, with my mind at ease, for now, at least, I will thank you and bid you farewell. My list of petitions is smaller by one, for the moment.
We're here to help. Talk later.
You must be thinking of running, after these emergency measures are finished.
I assure you, I am not thinking.
You.
Hello to you too. Why don't you try greeting me with a smile?
How do you have access to our scry?
Magic.
Seriously?
Your scry is connected to Loom Gates and by extension the tapestry which spans all through the underworks. No system is impenetrable. I found a way in.
I want you out of my ear. Now. I'm sick of your voice.
And yet you came back to see me. Puzzling.
You're impossible.
And with this power core, we can fix our Arc of Verdance. I think this is what they call a full circle moment.
Huh. Lately, I feel like I've been running in circles.
Hey, I know things look bleak, but this? This is a win. Don't let the Talon rob you of it. You're finishing her work, after all.
You're right.
I always am. Now, I think you've got a meeting with the Axle.
It's a little bit beautiful, isn't it? It's like reaching into the past and shaking hands with its designer. We have achieved much.
I think she'd be happy to see it up and running.
I think so too. Plans set in motion decades ago. Slowly ticking towards fruition. If we are so lucky.
Khan Arteme, my Weaver Band has repaired the Ark we followed through the Veil and discovered its true purpose.
To nullify the tangles at the source so it can be repaired.
Its anti-magic properties are why we were able to follow it through the Veil in the first place.
I see.
If we could get it to the source, we believe it could stabilize the Enclave.
Except the Grand Gate was broken when the Ark pushed the Herald back through it.
Surely there must be another way to reach the source.
Now that it's repaired, couldn't this Ark be used to leave the Enclave the way you came?
In theory, sure.
What are you saying, Khan Arteme?
It's time for someone to protect my people. I need to use that Ark to get us all out of here.
You would leave with the Surgeborn running loose? Or worse, allow them to spread and wreak havoc across the Maida in your wake?
No one has succeeded in stopping them yet. We've been trapped inside the Enclave for decades. It's time to set ourselves free before the Surgeborn overtake Cassidon's hold and kill us all.
In moments like these, we can't give in to our worst fears. That's what Kenrick did, and look where it got him.
We're only still here because the Spindle was brave. Honor that.
The Surgeborn has infiltrated our scry. It's learning how to use our enchantments against us. If we don't put a stop to this madness, how long until they overtake the Arks? Or bring down the Veil and spread across the Maida?
That is concerning. Still, let's be clear. Even if you could reach the source, there's a massive Surgeborn that almost killed you lurking down there.
I'll be ready for the Herald this time.
And what are you going to do about all the tangles? Punch them before they disintegrate you?
Sev believes the Aeroliths can manipulate raw magic and are responsible for miasma. We think if we can control the Aeroliths, we can make the source safer.
Interesting. You've put more thought into this than I'd expected. But, as you've said, you have no way to reach the source.
Fine. Our plan has a few kinks to iron out.
More than a few.
How about this? If you can just give us time to present you with the final plan, it'll be your call whether or not we move forward on it.
I suppose that's fair. I can't pack up this stronghold in a day.
One more thing. It's clear by now the Enclave hides its secrets well. If there's any information on the source, I need access to it.
There are private records that can only be accessed with the Eye's signet. I suppose he's not using it at the moment, but...
Brynn did just save your people from certain death not too long ago.
Fine. You can borrow it. You should find information at the Spire in Upper Denevron, the Bastion, and the Institute.
We'll arrange a meeting with you when we're ready.
Good luck.
Council records are meant to be public. Wonder what else the Eye was hiding from his people. Records on the construction and maintenance of grand gates across the Enclave.
My. That's the eye signal. Did you know it can reveal the Enclave's secrets? Not that I needed it to pry into the eye's darker truths. You're trying to find another way to reach the source. I'm all for it. We'll be able to speak more easily there.
Ugh, I'm sick of your voice already.
Such impoliteness is unbecoming of you. Didn't your parents raise you to be a nice, respectable girl? I gathered from how the Eye spoke of his own daughter that those are the core values your kind instills in their offspring.
Field notes from an expedition to the source shortly after the surge. Enchanters suffered severe damage to the coral. All who participated in the expedition were sworn to secrecy by the Eye in power at the time. Last time we went looking for answers in the Bastion. Half the documents were torn to shreds. What else were they hiding behind the Eye's signet? Looks like research that's been compiled on the ecological and geographic impact of the surge across the Enclave's landscape. There's an entire section on the widening of the Great Chasm.
I hope you're not afraid of diving into bottomless pits.
Hardly. Maybe a little. Why?
Despite the Grand Gates no longer functioning, there is a more direct way to reach the source. By dropping straight down into a rift in Lower Denevron.
You know, last time I wanted to charge into a restricted area, you weren't so sure it was a great idea.
People change. Maybe I've learned a thing or two about calculated risk-taking from you. And the prospect of securing the source makes this a risk worth taking.
This is only one piece of the puzzle. The axle isn't going to budge until we figure out a way to lessen the tangles at the source.
With good reason. We don't want you to fry down there.
circle marked by 6 dots. They'll look blank, but I'll be able to read them when you bring them back.
Why not bring them to me instead? Think of what we could do.
Pass.
That's one of them, Brynn. I hoped they would still be down here.
What should we expect?
The Norians were experimenting without informing the Enclave on the aerolifts. They wanted them to do more than just moderate the weather. They wanted to control it.
They got tired of long winters? Gloomy days?
Think bigger. If you control the rain in a desert, you control the land itself.
Too unreliable. Why not just offer incredible power and endless life to the rulers?
That should be enough for us to piece their research together, Brynn.
How delightful. But Fussy One has you running his errands. And lo, he is pleased.
Shush.
Will I be learning how Norians hide their information, Sev?
Yes. And if word gets out, we're both going to be hunted.
The best knowledge is always dangerous.
I like this one.
I shouldn't be surprised the Norians use a fluid to conceal their secrets. It's ingenious, really. An acid of sorts that can etch the writing into the metal invisibly. And when you apply another compound, it oxidizes. It's like a legible rust, and yet, after you're done, you can just wipe it clean and it flakes off.
Medium aside, what did we learn?
As Sev expected, research on the aeroliths. It's a bit outside my speciality, so I passed it to Dan.
And how are we feeling about Sev's revelations?
It's not like I've never kept things from my friends, and I generally keep them from my family, so I empathize. But I don't keep them from the band. Anyway, Dharm's waiting.
Lane said I should talk to you about the plates we found for Sev.
Perhaps you could walk with me?
Sure.
I have already passed my notes on. This conversation isn't about them. I wanted to ask how you're doing with regards to Sev.
At the end of the day, he broke his oath for us. I respect that. As soon as he felt there was a risk to the band, he correctly warned us.
It's true. His judgment has been better than his timing. Still, what we're seeing now is the chrysalis of a capable and intriguingly well-informed young man.
He's going to go so much further with us than with the Norians.
Ultimately, I will say this. There was a time in my life I walked away from everything I held most important. Sev is handling it better than I did. He's not angry or bitter, he's just working through the problem. It's kind of you to help him. I'm sure he appreciates it more than he'll ever be able to say. So I'm saying it for him. Sev already has my notes. Good luck in your endeavors.
Exciting news, Brynn.
You figured out how to clear the source?
Nothing quite that far along, but we are a step closer. As I suspected, the Norians were doing experiments not even Enclave leadership knew about. Not to just stabilize the weather, but directly control its extremes.
Which is pretty much what we're seeing the aeroliths do, here and now.
I honestly think that these experiments, left unattended, are the direct cause of the wild temperature changes. Likely contributed to the floods as well, though I suspect Asylum was the larger cause there. Regardless, if I can pick up where their research left off, we might have a solution to our problem at the source.
What did the Norians stand to gain controlling the weather anyway?
Their power base has always been in Taza, where the deserts need water to grow. Imagine being able to withhold rain or worsen heat at a whim. What kind of power would that give you? The kind the worst parts of the Order crave.
If we succeed, will we be able to stop the weather fluctuations entirely?
I hope so, in time. But the system has been out of control for years. For now, I want to focus on our immediate problem of the source and the Surgeborn.
Did your research say anything about miasma and tangles?
No. Those phenomena are too new to be in the records you recovered, which are pre-Surge.
What will it take to move from might have a solution to definitely have a solution for the source?
The research you recovered focused on using patterns from creatures with natural flame and frost affinity. It used those patterns to briefly augment one part of the enchantments woven into an aerolith.
Use flame magic to tilt the aerolith hotter for a time?
Yes, exactly. And they had some success with it, proving the method's viable.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but too bad there aren't miasma creatures.
There's one, and Dharm already managed to recover some of its pattern.
But not enough?
Oh, absolutely enough. You've been working hard and it's paid off. I needed an exquisite resonance from all three types of magic. And we have that.
That's fantastic. Is that it then?
We're going to combine them with the Norian's notes and Dharm's studies of the Herald to build a device to influence the aeroliths. I gave the design to Sola. She said it should be doable, but wants your approval on which materials to use.
If this could pull miasma out of the source somehow, sign me up.
It's the most promising lead I have. And it's very promising indeed.
I wonder what Lucia would make of our repairs to the Ark of Ver-
That was one of the most complicated things we've ever collectively assembled.
I hope it wasn't too much.
Not at all. The only tough part was Dharm hovering the entire time. He's enthralled with this device.
Oh, well,
I'm teasing you, Seth. I'm not sure if you'll still be my apprentice after all this, but I will tease you.
No more learning to smith.
Now, I'm not saying that. We just need to figure out what comes next together. Which brings me to the question of the hour. You were already a Norian. Why did you want to be my apprentice anyway?
Rambralem.
Oh! That makes so much more sense. You could have just told me.
That's a cultural thing for you, isn't it?
Oh, you know. Yes. Very much so. But yes, Sola. I'm sorry. I was afraid if you dug too hard into my past, you might learn about the Norians.
And they don't like people digging.
No, they truly don't. That is your answer, though.
And this is your intricate doodad. I cannot wait to see what it does.
This aerolith should be perfect, Brynn.
done.
That's all we needed. The others have been helping me with a little project on the side. A surprise for you.
No hints?
You'll see.
What has Sev been building? What's all this, big guy?
The culmination of all our efforts, Brynn.
He wanted it to be a surprise.
Consider me impressed. But what exactly does it do?
He hasn't told you?
As Casman said, I wanted it to be a surprise.
Sev, we all do better work with context. This is something you're going to need to get used to.
Yeah. You're a weaver now. I heard you say so yourself.
It's the culmination of an Orion dream. But unlike them, I'm not going to use it to put a nation in a stranglehold. No. I'm going to change the weather. For you.
For me?
Yes. It will take some resources, so let's be judicious, but yes. We can change the weather before your expeditions.
So all those patterns I collected?
Critical to calibrating things. Weather and miasma alike. The creatures have been exposed to so many wild environmental swings. They were affected in ways I could use to calibrate to the aerolift's patterns.
And that's what Dom was helping with?
Everyone has helped Brynn. Literally everyone. No politics, no backstabbing. I could get used to this.
Good. All that stuff wastes time and energy.
You said this will take resources. Am I hunting more patterns, or...?
Nothing so dire.
Brynn, you've got enough to worry about. Let us sort it. We'll treat it just like upgrading the camp. Maybe I end up trading with the Hearthsiders. Maybe we do a little alchemy. We'll handle it.
Well, this is incredible. What's involved with actually making it happen?
Well, it's not simple for me. But for you, I'll keep it simple. If we want to make a change before you leave, we can do it as part of the preparation. The aerolifts are all connected. And the device we created will let me give them let's call it a shove, for a day or so.
We've run some limited tests, and everything holds up. It's really rather ingenious.
And we'll give you quite the edge. Imagine tossing a drought when a frost creature is hunting.
It can affect miasma, too, yes?
Yes. And since, thanks to you, I know exactly where the source is. I'm confident I can help you clear a path. Clear enough that the Ark of Verdance should be able to keep you safe at any rate.
Sounds like the last piece of our plan. Should I call the Axle?
When you're ready, we are.
How are you feeling about Sev, Sola?
Delighted.
Not upset to lose an apprentice?
I'll find more. Lots of talent among the Hearthsiders, according to the Axle. And that's perfect. They'll learn quick, just like Sev did. I'm proud of him. And controlling the weather itself. Incredible. I've learned from a lot of years on the road that change is the natural way of things.
Our time in the Enclave has certainly proven that.
Anticipating change and finding joy in it, the best thing you can do in your life.
You know, I can't stop thinking. Could Stanord have fixed the weather?
From what Sev said, the former I was more a political animal than an expert.
Yeah, that makes sense. If only he'd shared what he had access to with people who were halfway competent. Anyway, I just hope Sev can keep digging. He's got a good head on his shoulders.
You look like you've got something on your mind, Sev.
Struggling a little, perhaps. I find myself torn.
Between Casmin stews and down spiced pork? Same.
Pork. Stew gets in my fur. That aside, I find myself both wanting to tear down the Norians and redeem them. Surely not everything they did was self-serving politics. There had to be some craft or artistry behind it.
That's the part of Norian-ness that appeals to you?
Recently I found records, experiments to improve flow rates across the tapestry.
Better pipes.
Pretty much. The team was working on it right around the time the surge hit.
Any idea where?
Not too far from here. Odd they'd set up in a swamp, but perhaps it was a stress test.
We're going to have to fix the Enclave eventually. Better pipes can't hurt. I'll check it out.
You are tireless, Brynn.
I can sleep when I'm dead. Though at a point, I might be tempting fate by saying that.
You're right. But we all notice how hard you work. I know what it feels like to work without praise. Feels good to shine a little sun on your achievements. guess. They were working out of that cave.
Sheltered, yet deadly. Probably wasn't that way before the surge. Shipping crates, marked Project Junction 4X9.
Sounds familiar. I'll look into it.
Abandoned in a hurry.
Anyone who survived the tapestry overloading probably ran for the nearest loom gate. About our Norian findings, would you forgive an observation before we start?
Sure. What's up?
This is the second time I've been able to just collaborate. The Axle helped me without question. Aram could get used to this.
And what did the combination of your excellent minds discover?
That marking you found, for Junction 4X9, it's a location code. The Norians and Enclave had a system to track the flow of raw magic. The Khan and I did some archival digging, and we know where it's located.
Is that a common way to track piping?
Only for Norians. Our waterworks are hidden. It keeps their secrets. But also makes them hard to track.
In Taza, you mean?
Yes, but here too. The Enclave was invested in keeping the tapestry out of sight.
You wanted to find something practical. This sounds like it counts.
Oh, Brynn, yes. I needed this. Something skillfully wrought and worthy of study. Even uncovering how they balanced the pressure would take years. Amazing.
Since you know where this Junction X... whatever is, am I heading there?
Not just yet. I don't want to waste your time.
Oh?
My working theory is that they used that junction to rebalance the flow of raw magic to their worksite.
To what end?
If they wanted to test new piping technology, they'd need contents for the pipe. Water wouldn't behave like raw magic does. Compression and so on. Major junctions had valves that changed the pressures and flow, but took specialized tools to operate.
How specialized, exactly?
They were Norians. Why use a wrench when you can make a special secret wrench?
A wrench hunt, then. Sounds like a trick they play on junior artisans.
I doubt we'll just find one lying around. We did, however, find the designs. Encoded, of course.
I bet Solo's already heating up the forge.
Yes. I wish they didn't use such exotic alloys, but magical flow control requires them.
It's okay, Sev. I'm on it.
These Norian designs are really something.
Looking over the fancy wrench?
Sev said you'd call it that. But yes, I've never seen anything so over-engineered in my life. Sev tells me they built it inscrutable so that no one could copy it. I simplified it down for our purposes.
That will make it easier to produce more.
Lot to learn from the Norians. Both what to do and cautionary tales.
Have I ever told you how much I enjoy watching your expeditions on the Scry?
You too?
Look, it's no secret that when Aurea injured her wing, I was skeptical of you taking over expeditions. So I started watching you to make sure things were going well.
You mean to make sure I didn't screw up?
Fine. That's what I was doing. At least at first. On one of your first expeditions into the Hollow, I watched you take a swing at that massive Archon thinking it was inactive. Then, when its eye lit up, these visions of you dying started swarming me. I panicked and asked Aurea if you were ready for this, hoping she'd pull you out immediately. Then you began climbing the Ark. And it was like everything in my head just went quiet. That does not happen often. You had this serene look on your face. Like this was exactly the challenge you'd been waiting a lifetime for.
It was.
When you took it down without breaking a sweat, I was secretly pretty impressed.
I like hearing you had faith in me, even back then.
It's only grown tenfold. After that, I enjoyed watching you on the Scry. Knowing you're out there, keeping all of us safe, relaxes me and keeps the visions at bay.
Takes you back, doesn't it? Just like when we first arrived, trying to get things working, unaware there's a whole twist of piping under our feet.
One day we're just trying to get a loom gate functional.
And the next, we're going to have to face the heart of the Enclave and figure out how to fix this damned place.
If anyone can do it, it's Brynn.
Oh, of course she can. Anyway, enough of that. Do we need to send a team?
No. The valves were designed to be worked easily, even by one person. All it should take is a steady eye and a strong arm.
Ashar strong? Or do I need to channel my inner big burly Ram?
You should be fine. That said, I do think all of you would look better with tusks.
You're entitled to your incorrect opinion.
Ha! So, feel up to some junction hunting, Brynn.
So much safer than my usual quarry. Less mobile, too.
Junction now. A dissolution chamber. The machinery in here looks complex, perhaps a part of the tapestry.
turned easily enough. Creaked a little, but seems stable now.
Perfect. Certainly easier than loom gate repair.
If we could have stopped the flow with a tool like this, the Hollow's loom gate would have been trivial.
That should have cleared the Norian worksite.
Only one way to find out. Good news, Sam. The cave looks tangle-free.
That seals it then. Ah, literally and figuratively.
So, is this broken one the new, improved piping?
No, they haven't replaced it yet. We can run our tests later.
First things first, we need to deal with this source problem before we can even think about the tapestry.
One problem at a time. I agree.
We have our Norian prototypes. How you feeling? Theories proven, research recovered.
A successful collaboration by any measure.
So, we know the cave was inaccessible because of the leak.
Yes, suggesting most other tangles are from damage to the tapestry. Major breakages always seem to have one nearby.
If there's raw magic in that part of the tapestry, at least.
Exactly. Now that we know how to shut down a part of the tapestry, we should be able to make repairs.
What did you find in the notes from the cave?
Exactly what I was hoping to see. Advanced material sciences. Results from experiments on pressure containment.
Unsuccessful containment.
True. But in fairness, it wasn't the new design that failed.
I'm glad I could help, Sev.
More than anything, this has reminded me that not all Norians are scheming political animals.
Some are you.
Well, not anymore. But yes, some are more interested in sharing their expertise and pushing it further. And that's enough to give me hope that maybe if we get out of here, there's a way I could reform things.
Or at least open some eyes.
Exactly. That's a problem for the future, though. For now, there are tests to run. The more I dwell on the prospects of repairing the tapestry, the more excited I become.
The experimental piping is working, then?
Yes, it is. I've been running numerous tests. And for me, this is a chance to do some actual engineering, away from the Order's influence. Those who cross them disappear in the night. But unless they also have an Ark of Verdance, they can't reach me here.
Norians are really that ruthless.
It was the mystique they cultivated. But who knows how much action they took. That's the problem with secret societies, Brynn. After a while, it's just secrets all the way down.
All right, everyone. Let's give Khan Arteme the rundown.
Using the aerolifts, I can trigger a miasma everywhere they affect above ground.
It is advised that your people remain indoors during this process.
The miasma will flow from the source, which will lessen the raw magic enough to keep Brynn safe while she escorts the Ark.
And how is she going to get there without the Grand Gate?
She'll drop in through the rift in Lower Denevron.
Skies, of course she will.
Don't worry. I've got plenty of experience scaling down cliffs.
Once she's in the underworks, she'll stay within the Ark's protective field and follow it to the source where it will fulfill its purpose, to pacify the Tangles.
And what about the Herald?
That's where you're going to need to trust me.
You really think you can do this?
Growing up in a freehold in Carnhaven, joining a weaver band seemed impossible. Then opportunity struck, I jumped on it. In my first weaver band, becoming a point seemed impossible. Then I met Aurea. And not too long ago, being the first to enter the Enclave in half a century seemed impossible. Yet here we are. What I'm about to do feels impossible. But that's how I like it.
You've asked me to guide us. Now, it's time for you to trust me when I say, this is our path.
Kenrick lied to us for decades. It's hard to believe anyone who says they're going to take care of the Surgeborn now. But with how open you've been, and everything you've done for us already, you've earned my trust. We will stay and fight for our hearth.
Thank you.
Brynn, I'll coordinate with Sev. When you're ready, come see me.
Quite the impressive investigation you and your Ram friend instigated. With those results, we could repair the tapestry and eventually reclaim the underworks. Too risky to tackle right now, though. This finding, alongside Arakim's discoveries about the miasma, is concerning, but I see it as an opportunity. The tapestry needs to be repaired, and we have the means. Nothing catalyzes and unifies people like a problem they can actually solve.
Making you seem like a very effective leader.
Yes. Yes, it does.
This is going to be a challenging expedition. Are you ready?
Have Arik escort Khan Arteme here. I'm ready to move out.
Good. Take some time to rest. And I'm sure everyone will want a chance to speak with you before you head into the rift.
You all worry too much. I'll be fine.
I know that. Just make sure the others do, too.
All right.
I've run every test I could think of.
I can name 7 or 8 subtle variations of snow off the top of my head if you need more weathers to test. Freezing rain, flurries, squalls, sleet. Sleet's fun. Well, to say. Sucks otherwise.
You really are from the mountains sometimes, you know. When I told you about the Grand Gate and Stanil's plan, I wasn't sure I was doing the right thing. You and the band have helped a lot with that. A lot. I even feel like I understand how the tapestry works. We can fix this place, but I'm going to need your help. Understand?
I look forward to it. I'm sure you have thoughts on the upcoming expedition?
It's funny. You'd think I'd be remembering my mother, the expert weaver. But my father is on my mind right now. What it must have been like, cultivating his fields year after year.
Taking a moment to enjoy what you've cultivated.
I'm at peace. My new role is to help you build upon what I've learned.
That's quite the legacy.
One last piece of advice before you go?
Always.
When the time comes for you to find your own apprentice, choose one that can help you with this transition like you've helped me.
If I survive this, you mean?
We both know you will.
After the surge, we no longer had any reason to celebrate. Our seasons were broken, so any festivals we once had to celebrate their transition suddenly lost their meaning. So we stopped. I've lived my whole life like this, only hearing stories of joy and calm and peace and optimism. Never seeing it myself. If we succeed today, there may well be a reason to celebrate once more. And my heart burns with the desire to give that gift to the children of the Enclave, who would otherwise go without.
We'll get it done, Khan Arteme.
Hirun. I very much hope so. Don't die down there.
Hasn't happened to me yet, so that must mean the odds are in my favor. Kaz, how are you feeling about the upcoming expedition?
Surprisingly okay. Not too long ago, circumstances like this would have sent me spiraling. But these days, I feel like I can handle it.
I'm glad to hear it. You've come a long way. I'm really proud of you.
Thanks to you. And while we have a moment, I should probably tell you. I know you can do this. No matter what that crummy herald says when you get down there. You're going to kick its proverbial butt out of the source and save the Enclave as we know it.
Kaz, it helps to hear that.
Yeah, well... Normally you're the one who says the right thing when I need it, so... I thought I'd change things up for this.
Thanks. You're a good friend.
I find myself once more mining the past for clues. An impulse not born of regret this time. We've achieved much together, it's true. But beyond this, what more can we do?
We've done everything we can, right? So perhaps we just need to have faith.
As alien as it is to me, yes. At some point, we need to lean on belief. Founded in trust, founded in fact. Doing it again?
I don't think I've seen you like this before.
It's not my most particularly favorite way to be.
Why don't we run through some of the preparations you've made to take your mind off it?
Right, yes. I've prepared all the potions and filters you might need. Mixed them up in bulk, thanks to the equipment I've gathered. From the raw ingredients to the essential alcohests to the final products, I am sure that what I've made is of the highest possible quality. You're right. It did help.
Brynn! Not just quick of blade, but big of heart. It's always a pleasure to see you.
It's always a joy to see you too, Dom.
Not everyone can catalyze a discussion between a couple that clearly needed to happen. You'll always have my thanks for that.
How are you feeling about the expedition?
We are as ready as we can be, and with our intrepid point as the vanguard, what could go wrong?
Rather a lot, honestly.
Yes, but it shan't. You will overcome, and you need to keep that in your heart. Hope is like magic. Its real strength comes from inside. Will, fortitude, and belief can overcome the impossible. If you believe that you have what it takes to win the day, you shall. I know this, and you do too.
Sola, how are you feeling about the upcoming expedition?
These days I can handle just about anything. And that's in large part thanks to you.
Me?
You supported me through all this Tarmakine stuff without faltering. Even when it felt like my world could crumble in the face of it. And then, you didn't just bring Dom and I back together. You and Kasmin showed us we never really lost one another. I just feel so much more resilient thanks to you.
Come on. That was all you.
Don't worry. I'm not selling myself short, but you gave me space to grow as a person. Not a lot of friends are brave enough to do that.
Anytime, Sola.
I'm ready to do whatever it takes to help you succeed at the source, Brynn.
Glad to hear it.
Hey, you're practically glowing. We're so close, huh?
And you're practically vibrating. Everything okay?
Sorry, I get kind of keyed up before anything big. Breathing helps. And this is a big one, isn't it?
Maybe the biggest. At least in recent memory. Just glad you're here with me.
Anyway, we're as ready as we can be on my end. The scouts still in fighting shape after Stanord's folly are deployed. They'll be reporting on Surgeborn behavior and ready to intercept if anyone moves against Darm and the Axle. We're even field testing some reweaves to the enchantments on our scries. Some progress there.
Sounds like the guide is settling into his role pretty smoothly.
Yeah, well, I mean, someone's got to. Thanks. There's a few more things I need to talk to the scouts about, but, would it be alright if I talked to you later?
Always.
Okay. I'll swing by your tent. Hey.
Hey, yourself.
Big night.
Maybe the biggest.
Are we sure this is the right call?
No.
Then shouldn't we...
No.
You're right. You are. I just... don't want to lose you. And I cannot shake the feeling I'm going to.
You might.
You're not helping.
No. But you're the one person here, except Aurea, who gets this. Who knows exactly how dangerous this is.
Which is why I'm going to agree with you. That you should do this. Even though every part of me is screaming into the night to try and make you stop.
Yeah,
You can do this. I know it.
I can. Though, I was thinking... I could use a little something to help me focus through the stress. What was that thing you said you did again?
Valanche?
Yeah. How'd it go? You move really slow.
And then you... explode. Oh. Oh.
Come here.
Sev is set to vent the tangles from the source when you're ready, Brynn.
I hope this works.
We have every reason to believe this will make the source tolerable for you. I'll tell Sev to get started. Dom and Khan Arteme will escort you to the rift with the Ark.
Looks like Sev was right. The rift has been vented. It's as safe as it's going to be.
You sure that rope can hold us both?
It'll do the job. Just try to land gracefully.
I always do. Got it.
My magic will only carry the Ark for as far as I can see you. Naven.
At least I don't have to carry it.
Brynn, you've kept me waiting.
Ignore it.
I plan to.
You'll find I demand attention. Admit it. You like me too. Why else in rumors coming from jail-side chats?
I'm not listening to you.
But imagine what I could offer you if you did.
How'd that work out for Kenrick Stanold?
Breathe through it, Brynn. I know its voice is making your skin crawl. I feel it too.
It helps when you guys are talking, instead of it.
Then we'll keep talking. We're here for you.
No matter what that voice says, you stopped the Herald before. You can do it again.
It would be such a pity to break your bones. Easy, but a pity.
Brynn, you've got this. I wish I could be there to help, but just... When you reach the Herald, punch that thing extra hard for me.
You're getting close. One last chance. Join me, and I'll grant you strength beyond your wildest dreams.
I've already told you, I don't need it.
If you're strong enough without me, why are there 7 crutches chattering in your ear?
They're not crutches, they're friends.
We could be friends.
What's so funny?
Couldn't destroy me with an arc of my size. And so you brought a toy instead. Whatever. I'll destroy it after you perish. typical of your species. The breach is too wide for your arc.
Breach? What breach?
The breach between our world and yours, of course.
You're from another world?
You call us Surgeborn, but we are ancient. As old as the tear between worlds that bleeds what you call magic. A wound your kind tore wider in their own quest for power. Until they could no longer contain it. And the inevitable happened.
The Surge.
The Surge. An event so cataclysmic in both worlds it shook them to their core. And it left a path. One I had to follow. Your kind have mastered the coral, indestructible and suffused with incredible power. Power you barely understand and haven't earned. Power that should and will be mine. You can't hope to compete with me. I carry with me 1,000 souls and 1,000 bodies. You are an insect. Consider it an inherent failure of your species.
Could you shut up?
Does the truth strike a nerve?
No, you're annoying. And I'm trying to think.
Brynn! Arik managed to get the scry back, for now.
We've lost visuals.
The Herald is down, but regenerating. And the Arc of Verdance. It's working, but the raw magic is too much. The Arc can't pacify the tangles.
You need to get out of there. Now!
No! I have to do something.
Brynn, we will find another way.
Don't bother. You will die. Just like the Eye's daughter.
Whatever it takes. Her name was Isla.
Brynn. Can you hear me? Brynn, talk to me.
Oh no.
Come on.
Now that Casman's trading with the Halfsiders, Khan Arteme has reached out to ask if I would forge arms for the Scouts. They've been wearing leftover arc armor all this time. Though I'll have support from the Enclave's smithing guild, it'll be a long project.
Sev won't be teaming up with you on this one.
The Axle has Sev working on the tapestry right now. Besides, I'm just happy to see he's found his calling.
I didn't think it was possible, but he stands a little taller these days.
Me working with the guild, Sev controlling the weather, you kicking major ass at the heart of the Enclave? Who would have thought we'd wind up here when we first passed through the Veil?
Not me. Part of me thought the Ark of the Stricken Earth was going to do me in.
You had to know you had a chance at winning. We've all come a long way.
Do you ever miss the days when the stakes of the band's adventures were a little lower?
Strangely, not at all. It's been quite the rush. Though, give us a few more scares like you did when the scry cut out, and I might change my mind.
Don't worry. I can go without defying death again for at least a little while.
Hey! You're up and about.
I am. And thank you for the visits.
I'm sure some would have said, leave her alone, she's recovering, but...
You knew I was going crazy just lying around.
Figured keeping your brain occupied with updates on how things are out there would help.
Also, therapeutic kisses.
Yes. I'm no alchemist, but those felt like a critical part of your recovery.
How have you and the other scouts been doing recently?
Exceptionally well. The Surgeborn are still out there, but they're... disoriented, scattered, something like that.
That will be easier to deal with for everyone involved.
Yeah. Still dangerous, but it's like they're roaming aimlessly and only acting on instinct.
How are the people at Cassidon's Hold faring?
Everyone can feel it. Things are different. It's like a pressure we'd all got so used to is lifted.
Perhaps literally.
The raw magic, you mean? Hadn't thought of that, but you're probably right.
Tell me about you, Eric. This has been a lot.
Well, on the one hand, still getting used to the title, but it is coming in handy for throwing my political weight around. Hirun and I don't always see... eye to eye, but she's sharp and we work it out. We're hoping to lift the restrictions on the Scouts mingling with the larger Hold populace for one. Lots of happy families.
And on the other hand?
On the other, I've got you. Us. And that's really all that matters.
Oh.
Hey, you asked.
That all sounds positive. Any thoughts on where we go from here?
Well, first, I want you to know that I love you when I say this.
Okay.
You are not allowed to die or make me think you died anymore.
Oh, spirits. Yes, of course. I can work very hard on the staying alive front, just for you.
All of us? Really? You didn't see the band's faces when the scry cut out. These people adore you. Anyway, beyond that, it's hard to say. I suppose we start to reclaim things. The Veil's not down, just stable. We work with that and see what other wild curves this place throws at us. And frankly, I don't think there's much the two of us together can't handle.
Oh, drat. Wait, no, thoughtless dame. I am delighted to see you up and about, Brynn.
Are you sure?
I am delighted to see you. And, as it turns out, Lane has just emptied my purse.
Never bet against the alchemist about recovery times.
Indeed. A lesson I have zero regrets about learning, for it means you are up sooner than I would have thought possible.
We clearly did something at the source. But was it enough?
To stabilize things? Oh, yes. What's become abundantly clear is that the source had been damaged, though we're not sure how. Perhaps a small surge that cascaded into the real surge? That's all in the past, though. The current flow of magic seems to be balanced such that the veil is consuming most of it.
That sounds good, right?
Oh, most definitely. It leaves us at an equilibrium. That is so much better than the alternatives.
What's going on with the veil?
It's not coming down anytime soon, but it no longer seems to be overcharged. In retrospect, it's possible the veil was the only thing that stopped the source from outright exploding.
How so?
Its activation pulled, and continues to pull, mind you, an enormous amount of magic away from the source. That draw was enough to slow the rush of magic. It's possible the reason the veil went up so suddenly was as an emergency measure.
How's our little arc friend holding up?
So far, very well. It continues to pacify the raw magic coming from the source, and is self-sustaining as far as we can tell, thanks to your little push. Please don't do that again, by the way. Very dangerous, and we're all terribly fond of you.
How about the tapestry? No chance we've managed to remove all the tangles?
Alas, no. Take heart, though. Everything I have observed suggests things are not going to get worse. They may even improve in time, naturally, now that the raw magic flowing into the Enclave is regulated.
So, what's next for us, do you think?
I have every plan to continue studying the source while I can. The Axle's given me special dispensation. She feels my presence somewhat tempers the ambitions of the High Enchanter. He seems rather keen on becoming the next Spindle, less so on securing a sustainable future for the Enclave. At the same time, I'm told the alchemists are making a hard push for their representative to take the position. Their political jockeying buys me time to poke and prod the Enclave's secrets. I have no complaints. Solar's been teasing me about it incessantly, of course, reminding me to take a breath of all things. Which reminds me, I do have some things to attend to, so I won't bend your ear unnecessarily. Here if you need me for anything, Brynn of Carnhaven.
Glad to see Lane's got you up on your feet. The Axle and I have opened up trade between our band and the Hearthsiders to support Sev's work with the Aeroliths. She seems lighter since you got back from the source.
I'll have to check in with her and see for myself.
The relief efforts showed me it's difficult to pinpoint when a community is coming out of crisis. But there is one common marker. People start putting things on their calendar again. Could be as small as an appointment with your local apothecary, or as big as sending invitations to your wedding. You can't plan for the future when tomorrow's not a guarantee.
You think the Hearthsiders are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Not even close. But they're starting to live again regardless.
It is good to see you up and about again.
Thanks, Sev. Nothing keeps me down for long.
True, but don't go expecting anyone to pin a medal on you. Solar still doesn't think we should waste the materials.
Aw, you remembered. So, what's next for you, big guy?
The only thing left for me and Tarza are assassins. So, it looks like I'm staying. Not that the Veil gives us much choice, but you take my meaning.
The Axle will love to have someone with your expertise around.
Yes, I am a better collaborator than Stanhild, she tells me. And she's willing to provide whatever I need. Just so long as it stabilizes things. And I mean that politically as well as magically.
She's like my mother. Always thinking about her role more than herself. Still, powerful patron to have on your side.
And unlike my last patron, at least she seems honest about our relationship. We will both benefit from my work.
You were tremendous at the source. I'll admit, I was rather worried about you, but... well, you made it through. And, dare I say, defined a generation of weavers in the process. You've made history and lived to tell the tale. Tremendous work.
All in a day's work.
So few words for such a momentous achievement.
I need to keep that ego under control after all.
I don't think anyone could blame you for having an inflated ego after taking down the greatest foe imaginable all by yourself.
And yet, I must restrain myself. What a cruel world. So, what's next on our to-do list?
Getting back into the thick of it already. Let me check my notes. I have a line of research I'd like to pursue. Come find me when you're ready.
Sounds interesting. I'm all over it.
I look forward to discussing it with you. It's been a remarkably difficult chapter for all of us. While there's still more to do, I think we can take a moment to congratulate ourselves on making it this far. Only then can we look forward. And after all, who knows what the future holds?
And after we congratulate ourselves, what then?
We get back to it, just like we always do.
Well said.
A pleasant morning to you. What's on your mind?
I've got something that I'm struggling to believe.
Then it must be something rather special.
It's about something the Herald said when I fought it in the source. It said that it was from elsewhere. A place we wouldn't be able to understand. And the Herald claimed to be older than the Surge. Much older.
That is a fascinating assertion. And we've received reports of it reappearing after you defeated it.
Right. I heard that too. I would have mentioned this earlier, but with all the action and me almost dying...
Say no more. I do, however, think that Aurea and Darm need to hear about this too. Aurea? Darm? Would you mind coming over here?
You're looking uncharacteristically serious, Lane.
I'm looking normal, I think. But you are correct.
Brynn?
The Herald claimed to have existed for a long time before the Surge. And it said that at the heart of the source, there's a breach between worlds. That's where the Surgeborn came from.
I don't know how we'll tell everyone about this. Will they panic? Will they even believe us? Should we tell them at all?
Hold on, Lane. You're jumping to conclusions. It's possible that the Surgeborn was lying.
It's true. Even though it never technically lied to Brynn, it certainly enjoyed its little mind games.
I really don't think that's the case. It wanted Brynn to join it, and this would explain so much about the origin of the Surgeborn.
I believe the solution to our worries is, as always, more research. Brynn, since we've received reports of the Herald reappearing, would you mind hunting it down for us again? Specifically, to know for sure whether it is as otherworldly as it claimed to be, I will need you to harvest its pattern. As fresh as possible for me.
Absolutely. I've already killed this thing twice. A third time will be a piece of cake.
Splendid. Understanding the unknown kills any fear it may hold over us. Is this course of action acceptable to you two?
Yes. Sounds good to me. What do you think, Lane? Would that make you feel better?
I suppose that's a sensible way forward. Sorry, big revelation. I need to take some time to process this. Dom, will we analyze the resonance together? I need to prepare my workstation.
One step at a time, my friend.
Of course. The resonance, yes. Good luck, Brynn.
Don't need luck when I've got a team like you behind me. You're being unusually quiet. You can't talk. We didn't just cut off your ability to access the scry. The Arc of Verdance must have done something to you at the source. Huh. I wonder what this means.
It seems I owe you and Sebastian a word of thanks.
Unexpected, but you're welcome. What's happening?
Hirun has seen fit to approve my involvement in the tapestry repair. As much as it is irksome to be assigned work, I will confess I was getting rather bored and lost in my own thoughts. Something to do will help, I'm sure.
Goodness, you're irrepressible. You've just been to the brink of death and back, but you're already back up and at it. You're allowed to take a break, you know.
I get bored easily. Much rather be out here getting things done.
Well, I'll say this. Your efforts haven't gone unnoticed. With the Arc of Verdance doing its work at the source, the raw magic is beginning to dissipate. In time, we'll be able to secure a workspace. Then, we can start repairing the tapestry. Everyone in the hold has begun to look to the future. Many never had a reason to. Children and adults alike, sensing the intoxicating allure of newborn hope.
I know what it's like to watch your people rebuild after dark times. It's hard, but beautiful too.
I've been asked by a citizen committee to establish our first new holiday in decades. Spindle's Day, they want to call it.
Ah. How do you feel about it?
I wish things were different. And I know she would have hated all the attention, but I think it's right.
She'd be really proud of you for stepping up.
I would hope so too. It is the least I can do to honor her memory, day by day. As always, I have a great deal on my plate to get back to. Promise me you'll take a break. If only to spend time with the people you care about.
I will.
You just couldn't take a break, could you? But no. Instead, you had to unearth a revelation so dangerous it could destabilize the entire Maida Basin.
Not my fault. incredible discoveries just fall into my lap.
Right. I admire the work your band did on researching the Herald. Lane, in particular. Hold on tight to them. They're an extremely valuable resource.
Their contributions are tremendous. The alchemy alone. With that, plus the number of times their research has saved our hides, I don't think they could leave the Weaver Band even if they tried. We wouldn't let them.
You would be fools to do so. I wanted to mention, by the way, if you could pass this along, Lane's welcome to visit the Hold anytime. Open invite. I'll always appreciate hearing their thoughts.
I'll pass it along.
Now, I'd better get back to it. Paperwork won't do itself. I'm encouraged by the research Sev's done on the tapestry. He has a quick mind.
The opportunity to prove himself outside of the Norians means a lot to him.
We're going to find out what he can do with a team backing him up. It's key we repair the tapestry as quickly as possible. I shudder to think what might happen if the Ark of Verdance should fail.
she made it out alive.
That's more than luck. Brynn's tough as calm steel for surviving all that.
That's for sure.
I know I can harvest its pattern. Just need to do it again. Good news. I harvested the Herald's pattern.
Splendid. If you'll let me handle the resonance. Dom, come and look at this. Brynn's brought back the Surgeborn resonance, and...
Fascinating. It really is like nothing I've laid hands on.
The Herald was telling the truth, then. About this, at least.
Walk me through it, team.
Dom, do you want to?
Yes. This is the second resonance I've had access to, and I didn't realize before, but it's clearly not of this world. It resembles nothing mentioned in any literature I've ever seen. The Hearthsiders' libraries have nothing about this, not even the Spindle's tomes. Exploring the possibility of other worlds could consume decades of a researcher's life, and they'd barely scratched the surface. It was a theoretical, primary theological pursuit before, but this strand changes everything.
So you're suggesting this is an entirely novel field of research?
That is precisely the fact of the matter, my curly-haired friend.
I'm happy for you both. I really am. But I've got some mild concerns about this resonance I've brought home. Particularly around the risk of it regenerating into a Surgeborn the size of a Hallowpyre temple when we're not looking.
I would not like to see that either. The resonance is self-healing, but beyond that, it seems that some other element dictates the Herald's regeneration. I would not be surprised if you saw it again, but without its connection to home, it will not be able to evolve or adapt.
So the resonance heals itself, but it won't turn into a Surgeborn on its own. Good.
There's something else to worry about. One large thing. What amount of this information are we comfortable sharing? And with whom?
I wish I could draw from weaving history to provide guidance, but something this big has never happened before.
The Axel has always appreciated our transparency. We should tell her first.
I would assume she's busy with her duties as interim leader, but on the other hand... I've no clue. Truly, my font of wisdom runs empty.
I think this one's big enough that we can bother her about it without feeling guilty.
You're right, of course. I'll meet you in Cassidon's hold. I just need to document this while it's fresh in my mind.
And I will continue experimenting. What a wonderful opportunity.
See you in the hold, Lane.
Good morning, Karnatame. Might we trouble you with some questions of a fairly important nature?
You're already here, so you may as well.
This is a pretty big one, for the record.
We have learned something astounding about the Surgeborn and the fundamental nature of the Source.
Something new?
Yes. When Brynn was engaged in combat down in the Source, the Herald spoke to her of its origins. It told her it hailed from another world, and at the Source is a celestial wound through which the Surgeborn found their way here.
We thought it might have been lying, trying to throw me off. But recently, we realized it's regenerated. So I killed it again. Took a resonance from its pattern to Lane and Dom, and...
It was all true.
all of it.
Dom is very excited about the existence of other worlds and will continue researching. But it sits ill with me.
How so?
You and I spoke at length on how the truth, the whole truth, must be made available to all. But this isn't just some political secret. It changes our approach to everything. Religion, weaving the way we place ourselves in the world.
I understand. I assume you've thought a great deal about this. Give me a risk assessment.
That's just the thing. Understanding more about the world, it's beautiful, wonderful. I have enough perspective, however, to know that the same may not be true for others, especially those who have lived here through the Surge. Would it bring peace to their hearts? Would this knowledge, shared free to all, improve their lives? I fear not. But perhaps I am the fool for thinking that I am wise enough to know what is best for others.
I see. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with me. First things first, we need to find out what Kenrick knew about this. Let's fetch him, shall we?
What do you want?
I was hoping to draw on some of your memories, if you wouldn't mind. It's in regards to a security matter.
If it's a security matter, then those two shouldn't be privy to it.
That's no longer your call. In the years where you held the Surgeborn Talon in custody, did it ever speak to you of its origins?
I will not incriminate myself.
I'm simply asking a question from someone who's in charge to someone who was in charge.
And you may simply ram that question up where the sun doesn't shine.
You're useless. You may leave.
I'm useless. I'm not the one chasing religious fairy tales about worlds beyond our own. Ridiculous.
So you knew, and kept it to yourself. That's more than enough from you.
I'll leave you to your hunt for a desert Akala, then.
Exhausting. I'm sorry about him, as always. Now, given the services you have rendered us, I believe you deserve a little trust. So I'll listen to what you think I should tell our people of the Herald and the worlds beyond ours and whatever else.
It's humbling to have earned such trust, and we won't squander it. Before I speak, do you have any thoughts on this, Brynn?
I don't really believe in higher intelligences, but a lot of people do. From the Church of the Hallowed Pyre to the Tarzan gods, religion brings structure to people's lives. I'm afraid that if we told everyone the whole truth, it would destroy that structure. And when frameworks fail, the opportunists swoop in.
Very true. We experienced that ourselves. Now, Lane?
Brynn covered some of what I've been musing over, but for the sake of completeness, I'll recap it all with my own thoughts. 3 major facets of this problem loom in my mind. First, that of the research possibilities. Keeping this revelation under lock and key would obviously gatekeep untold numbers of discoveries. Second, that of those who adhere to the various religions around the Maida. I fear that disclosing the existence of other worlds to the public at large could upset a great many people at best, and trigger a holy war at worst. They have been waged on far smaller provocations than this. Finally, and most importantly, so many of the problems we've encountered here have been because people kept secrets. Whether they were forced to keep them or not, the existence of those secrets significantly hamstrung our efforts to learn about the Enclave. If I had any choice in the matter, I would change that status quo in a heartbeat.
Now is your chance. If you want to seize the moment, I will respect your choice.
The irony is that I find myself faltering on the precipice, because I've now been presented with truly dangerous knowledge. Before I entered the Enclave, before we undertook this wondrous journey, I would have been adamant that everyone know each intimate detail. But now, I believe we must find an acceptable truth to share. But not the whole truth.
What do you have in mind, then?
Subject to your approval, we start by telling your people the story of the source, the entire truth, barring that of the breach. Then we tell the people that, as it stands right now, the monster they saw at the Grand Gate is eternal. But more importantly, we are working on ways to combat it. We keep its true origins close to our chest. Knowing how to contain the Surgeborn is much more important. For now, we tell part of the truth. We share select details and let the people weave their own interpretations. We control the narrative by allowing conflicting narratives to spread. And one day, the denizens of the Maida may be ready to know the full truth. Is that acceptable to you, Karnatame?
Yes, it is. And might I say, you would have made an amazing politician had you stayed in Judea.
That's kind of you to say. But I have too strong a moral core to do that kind of work.
Very understandable. It's not for everyone. Nevertheless, I will communicate our story to the public. Let's hope the ensuing chaos is limited. I'd like to build trust again.
It's the right thing to do.
Lane, Brynn, thank you for your time and assistance.
It has been our everlasting pleasure, Karnatame. As if a great weight has been lifted from my shoulders. When one begins to live their life beyond dusty old tomes, they must reckon with the complexities that are part and parcel of lived experience. Which is to say, you have truly been an agent of change in my life, Brynn. In wonderful ways, of course.
Well, you're not so bad yourself.
I try my best. But really, I feel good.
How are you feeling about your research as a whole?
Excellent. I'm going to chronicle everything. Even if some of it may not see the light of day for some time, I have faith that it will, someday. And when it does, it will be useful to those who need it.
And what about that? Keeping it under wraps, I mean.
I suppose I have learned a sense of nuance. In Judea, keeping secrets was like breathing, but almost every secret was trivial or petty at best. And more importantly, kept as a means through which to exert power. That was Kenrick's approach too. Power through secrets. Whereas I would hope that my reasons to keep secrets are driven by a sense of care and kindness. Do you think so?
I do. And more importantly, I know you're the kind of person to seek outside accountability if you need it.
With you and everyone else at my back, my worries are now few and far between. All that remains is to continue my research. And I'll need you to keep bringing back items of interest, of course.
I won't stop looking for things to bring home. Don't you worry.
Then I won't keep you. Get adventuring.
It's a tragic story, really. The dissenters?
Yes. They were scared. Everyone was. And I don't blame them for not trusting the eye. So they did what they felt right, and
it all went wrong anyway.
Feels a bit familiar, doesn't it?
I think we fared a little better than they did, in the end. We might still be stuck in the Enclave, but we've achieved so much. Especially when it comes to the Hearthsiders. They trust us now. And if we work together, I'm sure we can find a way back out.
Very true. I'm sure the dissenters would have been happy to see the progress we've made. While their methods may have been ineffective, it's important to remember that they were a product of circumstance. After all, it's hard to make wise choices in a climate of panic. Their intentions were good. So, I would like to imagine that our efforts honor their memories, at the very least.
For sure.